Perek HaMeicher Es SPONSER, Daf Pei Zayin, sponsored the Refuah Shalema for Shalom Aaron ben Chana. Rabbi Shmuel distinguished between a seller stipulating, I am selling you a specific quantity of produce for a certain amount of money, kur bishloshim, from stipulating a kur bishloshim v'sa b'sela. The first stipulation was for a specific amount, not more or less, constituting 1 unit. The buyer does not acquire until the whole amount is measured, even if he owned the measuring device or the domain of the transaction. The second stipulation specifies individual quantities, sa b'sela. The buyer acquires each individual entity. The Brisa Rishona. A Brisa states, a buyer's utensil acquires even before the whole amount is measured. The Gemara explains it refers to one with incremental markings. Even Rabbi Shmuel agree, as soon as the measurement reaches a marking, the buyer acquires that amount. The Brisa Shniya. The Brisa discusses one who hired a laborer, deducted his salary from the going rate for advancing him the money. He cannot benefit from his work in excess of his payment. The wage advanced is similar to a loan, referred to as agar natar, a reward for waiting. However, if he began working immediately, the money advanced is not a loan, even though the hirer specified his daily wage, making each day a separate unit where agar natar should apply. Rava explains a worker's labor has no absolute value. It is normal for him to work for less when in need of money. Despite this, when he begins working later, the Chachamim or Machmir, it appears like RABBIS. When he starts immediately, it does not appear to be RABBIS. The Gemara explains the last ruling of the Mishnah. A buyer acquires flax attached to the ground as soon as he detaches a small amount. The seller stipulated to improve a small amount of land and acquire. He established a chazakah by detaching flax because it improves the land, allowing him to acquire all the flax. Now we move on to a new Mishnah. The Mishnah discusses when a sale is finalized. The general rule: parties to a sale can retract as long as the measuring device is not full, regardless whether the price remains stable or fluctuated. The first ruling of the Mishnah discusses a price fluctuation. If the price appreciated before the measuring device filled, the seller can retract. If depreciated, the buyer can retract. Once the measure is full, the buyer acquires and neither can retract. The second ruling of the Mishnah, if the measuring device belonged to a middleman, he acquires the wine or oil. If it breaks, it is his loss. If the price fluctuates, he profits or loses. Although he buys from merchants to sell retail, he is not viewed as their agents. The Gemara explains that even in the first ruling, the measuring device belonged to a middleman. If it was the seller's, the buyer does not acquire without a kinyan hagbah or meshicha. If the buyer's, he acquires at each incremental marking. The first ruling refers to where he is not present, brokering the deal. Therefore, he does not acquire the merchandise poured in his vessel. The second is where the middleman is present. Since he is brokering the deal, he acquires and consequently profits or loses from any fluctuation. The third ruling, the Mishnah discusses the sale of liquids. One who sells any viscous liquid must continue tilting his vessel after the flow ceases to allow for 3 additional drops. The buyer abandons the rest. The Gemara distinguishes this from Truma. His time is not justified waiting for the rest to drain. However, Truma status remains even when the Kohen abandons the rest. The rule does not apply to a storekeeper. According to Rabbi Yehuda, it does not apply only Erev Shabbos. If you're enjoying Daf 5, please click on the link below, subscribe, and become a sponsor. Thank you.